Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah al-Alameen. As-salatu salam ala Rasulillahi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Innani ote subhanahu wa ta'ala amtanani wa shukri. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh. Lil hikwani kwati fi din. Salamu ala mani taba huda. Lil hikwani kwati fi Afrika, Europa, America, Caribbean wa kuli makan. Halin wa salim bikum anzarama. How you doing today, my dear brothers and sisters? I'm running late. Sorry about that. I had technical difficulties, and then I had made prayer, but technical difficulties made it so that I could not start. And I was having problems with our friends who always seem to bother my programs, and I had to delay it until I get the time. And yeah, how you doing, my dear brother? Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for showing up today. I appreciate it, my dear brother. And my dear brother, Fulani brother, thank you for showing up today. Wa alaikum salam, rahmatullahi barakatuh. And this is another kind of a series talking about ancient Kemet, and we kind of discussed today something about since there's so much scholarship, majority of the scholarship that you see in Google or whatever is always painting the Kemetic people white. And today we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to present some things to you. And, we discuss it with you guys, your opinions and so forth and so on. Should we just leave this be? Let the haters, Toubab, racist and historians continue to whitewash our history? Should we just stand back and say, no, let it go, it's okay? Or should we fight them? And we fight them with scholarship. Because what I saw today on Google, it seemed like every time I pull up Google something about ancient Kemet, I'm just astonished. I read one caption in there where it said, now I looked at the same person who said they were white. Then he said, this time I looked at today, he said they were mixed people. There were some white and some black. And, you seen me for a couple of weeks, and even with our dear brother here, King Camp, we've shown that this possibility that this person and our persons are Toubab is just not right. And we know that. So, the people of which is white, but the people of ancient Kemet was black. Yes. Yes. Thank you, my dear brother. That's well put. Yeah. Today, yes, the central to the northern part of Egypt today is mainly white Egyptians, descended from Europeans. They do have some black blood, but to the south is the real ancient Kemet. The people are still black, and I showed you the pictures of some of our people from last week. And we must yes, the narrative with scholarship and usual primary sources. That's the way we can defeat them, because yelling and screaming at them or saying that someone is black and we don't have no scholarship to back our play, it goes into their narrative, and so this is again parts and parcel why we have to do something to fight them back with this. So I'm gonna start with this here. Okay, where we at? Yeah, I got some questions for all of us. You guys can chime in, please. I encourage your comments on this, because we all should discuss this and get your thoughts on this. And I'm posing some questions for you guys to look at, and you guys tell me what you guys, what you think would be, appropriate for something like this, because it is important, because here we are now after 5,000 years later, our ancestors have been shamed and been whitewashed. And so we have to talk about issues like this because each one we have our opinion of things. But here is something: if the Kemetic people were white, how did they? Oh man, the English here is no. They offer for. I don't know how these change after I write this. I don't know. After centuries? Yes. How did the Kemetic people remain white after mixing with the Nubian people of the South for centuries? That is genetically impossible. Even these scholars admit there was trade, and of course there was interaction. And men are men. I don't care what century it is. When you see a nice woman, or the situation it may be, and when they had wars, they had conflicts, they would take each other's women, and so forth and so on. Those women mated. How can someone mate for centuries with black people and stay lily white? It's impossible. Impossible, brothers and sisters. So what do you think about this? Because you look at this is one of the fallacies. You look at 5,000 years ago, man was just basically kind of starting to creep up. The areas of Africa was opening up, and black people left, and he started to go further north. Okay, we know this. And so how were the first men being Toubab in the Rift Valley? It all this doesn't make sense, brothers and sisters. And we have here an ancient, yes. Let me see. They can't seem to tell the difference between modern day and yes. It's like it's like also the problem we have going like in North Africa in general. We have the present day meaning of the Amazigh people. You notice they're very, very pale complected. A lot of them are very, very pale because of the European influence. And I've shown you in my classes how even white European Toubab scientists and geneticists talked about the big migration of white Toubab Muslim Europeans left Europe, came into Al-Maghrib, and they begin to already marry with Melungeon people who are already mixed white. That's why you have this white version of the Amazigh, especially in Morocco. But the brothers went further south. And we always seem to have the same formula. Kemet was no different. When the invaders, the white invaders, basically start to take over, okay, and had conflicts, what did the brothers do? The brothers retired further south. See, closer to the desert region and closer into the tropics. This is what they did. See, and this is a true fact. They tend to use the Mediterranean mummies for, yes, this is the other issue. This is proven time and time again. You notice when they'll say that I read an article today, it was nicely written. I mean, if I didn't know better, I would be convinced. And he again talked about the mummies. He took mummies and so forth, but he didn't say royal. And you start to trace these people back to the R series, meaning that they were, white. And we know that the invaders came, they lived there, and they died there, and they ruled there. Yes, they did, but they weren't indigenous to the land. So these are good responses to this. How they either forced them or killed them. Yes, over time, their numbers got larger. It's like modern day. Yes, their numbers did. And we made, again, the African people. If you look, I haven't covered a lot of this yet about the fall of Kemet. I will, inshallah ta'ala, I will talk about this. But one of the things that have always got us as African people, and we're so universal. We're so forgiving and we're so loving to a fault. And this is what has killed Africa from the time of our ancient brothers in Kemet to modern times. We're so forgiving and so loving and so forth. This is why we have been taken advantage of. And those mistakes happened in ancient Kemet because they begin to allow all of these white invaders, and they begin to even give them citizenship. Have we heard that before? Huh? Yes. Have we heard that before? They gave them citizenship, and they were not interested in becoming Kemetic people. They were interested in taking over and taking the spoils of the land and running it. And that's what eventually did. I'll get into that, inshallah ta'ala, at another time in another segment. How you doing, my dear brother? Thank you for showing up today. We encourage any of your comments that you have on this topic, because I think it's important and we should be heard about this, because I want to know what you guys feel about this, because I have my impression. I know my Fulani brother has this impression, and our brother King Cam, who's a professional educator, also have this thought in mind. This is my sister. How you guys doing, brother? My sister Linda, thank you very much for showing up today. I greatly appreciate that. And so we have this problem. If the Kemetic people were white, how for centuries they stay white? We know in genetics that black people have what we call dominant genes. Toubab have recessive genes. We're the only ones, geneticists have said this over and over again. You have even basic genetic courses that will tell you. Black folk is the only ones who can genetically erase essentially another race. Meaning, what we've seen this happen before, where black folk went into where? Andalus in 711. By the time 1000s happened, the people were already generally, the Spanish people, as you knew them, were not Spanish anymore. They became Melungeons and they became Fulani. Because why? Because their daddies were black. And our brothers who invaded Andalus, who we know as modern day Spain, had sometimes 50 to 100 Spanish women. And those women all had children by black men. Those children no longer were white. So how is it, if you have all this interaction and intermarriage, between white and black from the north, who are all white from Europe, and then, the Kemetic people are all white, and then the brothers from the south were jet black in color, and they maintained their blonde hair and their blue eyes and all the other stuff. It's impossible, brothers and sisters. It's impossible. How you doing? Thank you, my dear brother. Walaikum salam barakatuh. Thank you very much, my dear brother. And Cam speaking to my sister. Thank you very much, my dear brother, for that. So this is an interesting aspect of this saga, because we look at this not from the yelling at them, not talking against them, not just coming up with uncouth comments. This is something we have to ask, because if the Kemetic people were Toubab, then how did they stay Toubab for thousands of years when they intermarried with the Nubians? But this is some of the things why we need scholarship from Africans. The Africans have to come forward to bring our scholarship, and we're starting to have that. Unfortunately, what has happened, and I heard another brother say the same thing to me, nobody supports us. This is what I've been saying all along. We have black folk. I don't care if they're Fulani. I don't care if they're from the Hausa, or they're from Kemetic or Mende or Mandinka. They prefer to put their mark and subscribe to another Toubab, to a Toubab and his programming, than mine or King Cam or anybody else. We should have thousands and thousands of supporters. We don't have that. But the Toubab has that. Why is that? And then if you look at this, majority of the people supporting these guys are black. This is the problem. When African scholarship comes forward and start to give you the stuff, the real deal, nobody wants to support us, even our own folk. They'll jump past me and go to the same guy who I saw today in Google and put and mark, go down and subscribe to his station when he's a racist. It beats me. But we got to talk facts, brothers, sisters. We have to talk facts about that, and we have to be honest, because it's not all the Toubab. The Toubab is doing his mischief. But what about us? This has been plaguing African people for a long time. Yes, they're doing mischief, but they cannot achieve the mischief without black faces helping them. And this is the problem. So where did they disappear to? Now, if these people were all these pictures and murals of all of these Toubab in Egypt, you see every time you turn around, you see murals, not murals, things they created, and they're Toubab. Where did these people disappear to? They said that they disappeared in the modern population, which is not true, of Egypt. Not true. What language did these legendary Toubab Kemetic people speak? They didn't speak Meta. I tell you that now, they didn't speak that. They claimed that it's them. It wasn't them. Why did the Old Kingdom begin to show Toubab invaders about the end of the 4th dynasty? So our brothers began to see them in earnest. And, if you, again, the Egyptian history, we have the pre-dynamic dynastic period, and then we have the dynastic period, which was 30 kingdoms. The 4th kingdom was one of the most glorious kingdoms because you had all these pyramids, all of the sciences. You had the edification of the religion of Ka, and so forth and so on. The Toubab began to come, and they showed the Toubab coming into Kemet in animal skins and white and with pointy red, like reddish blonde beards, long hair. Now, if the Kemetic people are already there painting these people, and then alongside them they show cold black people in color, right? So they came and they start to give some murals to them about who came into Kemet. See, so again, where did these legendary Toubab Kemetic people who were supposed to be native to the land, where did they disappear to, and what language did they speak? And if this is the case, brothers and sisters, you heard me talk here a couple of days ago. Why would these white folk call their land the land of the black people? Huh? Again, I'm waiting for you guys. You guys respond to this. If these legendary white people, Toubab of Egypt, why would they call their land Kemet, meaning the land of blacks or black people, and then call themselves one? Kemti means one black man, okay, and Kemtiu means a whole race of black people, and they were white. What you guys got to say about that? I mean, I'm here. We got some response here. We got the reason why most black people subscribe to Toubab is because they feel they are right and we're wrong. Brother, you have said it. You have really nailed it on the head. Thank you, my dear brother. That is it. I don't care what scholarship I present. I even have Fulani people won't accept that. I even have Fulani people tell me we weren't even in ancient Egypt. So I asked this one in particular, who I had a fight with in Messenger. I asked him, so, well, where did we come from then? He started talking about Europe. He started talking about maybe India, but the facts don't support that. See, and so he hit it on the head. The same goes in religious circles. Yes, it's true. We had the same problem. I believe Africa were colonized and many really didn't know their history. Yes, they didn't know their history. And this is why the backlash. That guy did a study. He was a Jew. He took an African, one man, and they put platforms in front of him. I told you last week, or I think it was a couple of days ago, the platform, it had black, okay, African American, Africans, and had Toubab. This African man kept looking at these programs. He was trying to find something wrong with me. He's trying to find something wrong with King Cam. He tried to find something wrong with Linda. He'll find something wrong with the other black. But then he went to subscribe to the whites, and most of those whites were racist. So that means he didn't even look at the content. Just out of sheer, self-hatred, he went to subscribe to the whites. The Jewish scientists asking why. He said because the content, he believed it. And the Jewish guy asked him, he said, well, wait a minute. If that's the case, he said, did you hear him call you use the word Negro to describe you, your people? He couldn't say nothing. He still subscribed. You guys see the picture? You see, we're our worst enemies. No doubt about that. Now, who are you talking about? The Beja people, dear brother. Who you talking about? The Beja people are still in Egypt and Sudan. Who are the Beja people you're talking about? I don't know who these people are. Please enlighten us on that. Many of our own people don't care. Lies are easy to continue. When fights, yeah, we wonder why other people are not interested when we have all the evidence. Yes, we're not, and a lot of it's too. You know, we have human nature, brothers and sisters. Let's look at it. Oh, I just had a disconnection here. Okay. Okay. I'm hoping you guys, I'm hoping I'm still on because I was just disconnected all of a sudden. If anyone's still here, can somebody let me know if you guys still, okay, thank you. I was disconnected here for a couple of minutes. That's very, very strange. No, I shouldn't say very strange. We should know why. That's why I was delayed. I had a lot of technical problems. We have families, and a lot of times we don't care because we're trying to feed our families. We don't care about what's going on, even with ourselves. So we have a tendency to remain ignorant. And that's a simple fact because we're more concerned about putting food on the table, which we should. But all the while, we suffer from cultural degradation at our own expense. And this is where we have the problem. Say that Europeans were very diverse with range of skin, but the moment you mentioned they were black, and yeah, see, that's funny too. You're right. See, it's now boy, we still have the same thing that's happened, and we have to combat this with intelligence. They're cycling. Yes, they're enslaved. They can't seem to reason yet, and we still have the same problem. Yes, it was no doubt about that. My dear brother, please, I don't know if you greeted everybody. Please give your salam before you make any more comments. Okay, yes, okay, I'm on. Thank you, my dear brother. Or no, black nomadic traveler with black skin. Yeah, we know that. We agree. I asked a question about Kemet. If the people were white, why would they call their land the land of black people? And then why would they call one person you, Larry? They would call, oh, Larry, he is Kemetic of black folk. They say Kemetic. So this is what I'm talking about. See, so why would they, if they were Caucasian, if they were Toubab, why did they call themselves black? Why would they use the word Kemetic for a black man, for one person, and then also call the whole race of black folk Kemetic? See, this is something. Ain't no way they're pale face and yes, the original land, or yes, four corners and just yes, it's true. Because we go back to hieroglyphics again, brothers and sisters. Last week, where the mouth was. See, so now we understand where that was. It wasn't in Europe. It was where? It was in Africa and South Central to the West, Southwest Central Africa is where the beginning were. And remember, I showed you the 3 names last week too. I won't go over that. You guys have to review that again. Now, and they look at this. They even froze my. They froze my thing, so I can't bring up my. Guys are working hard to stop out my program. I had my pictures here and stuff. They froze them so I can't get to the pictures. Oh boy, man, oh man. Brothers, sisters, please hold fast here, because I'm cutting in and out. I got to see if I can get back into the, let's see here. Uh, no, it's not even letting me go to the, it's not letting me, we got here, let me see. So apparently ancient came all the way from Levant and ended up in, yeah, they had to have been people, yes, they had to have been people their way before the Egypts. Yes, if this is the case, well, we had a pre the people, and we've talked about that many times, and those people were, again, black, coming from what we know, Nubia. So, again, we're discussing this because I want us to put this in our mind when we have arguments dealing with this. So we'll have the evidence to convince these persons. And then again, like I said to you, you ask I don't care who comes up with this, you say, well, wait a minute, you said they were white. Then show me why would they call themselves black? You know what I mean? You have to ask that. And you use the word Kemt because Kemt is it. Kemti for one, Kemti for a whole race of people. And then ask them, well, what does this mean? Let them do the research. They're going to be shocked. So you have to ask them, say, okay, they were Toubab. Then why did they call themselves black? We have them any way they're trying to turn, we have them. We have them, any way you want to turn it. Brothers, sisters, I'm going to try to see if I can, I don't know how I'm going to get, I'm experimenting. I'm trying to see if I can get, it won't let me, they froze I have, my pictures and everything like this. They froze that. And, okay. They froze the pictures. Boy, that really puts me in a bind. Brothers, sisters, hold it for 1 second. Let me see if I can go out of this. Okay, let's see if this will do it. Banner. No, it's not letting me. It's not letting me. Boy, I tell you, that's really a shame. Okay, I know what I got to do. I got to see if I can add some these pictures in here, and then because some of them I'm not going to be able to put because I got to get them out of the other thing, and I'll do it this way, and but let's go back to this. So apparently our brother said this. We have this issue. I want to show you guys something here. Now you guys I want you guys to look at this real good. And I'm going to show you something here. We put it in our mind. Here's a map, ancient map of Kemet. Okay. And now, brothers and sisters, if you can see this good, this is what I'm talking about. Look where it says to your down to the left-hand corner, it says Nubia. What color is this man? They painted the Nubians as Caucasians, as Toubab. This is what I'm talking about. I found this I'm still laughing. Even the most racist of the racists know Nubia was black. But still, out of their genocidal racist hate, they cannot get past any accomplishment that we have. And now even the Nubians are painted as Caucasians and Toubab. Incredible, brothers and sisters. Okay, incredible. And of course, you know, we look at this and we look at this as we see, if you see it now going, it flows from the north. We know that. It goes against gravity, but we know it's coming from the south because we had the class, you know, last week, and I mean, a couple of days ago, and we talked about this, and we've proven that they were wrong in this regard. And you know, these brothers and sisters are issues that, again, you know, where did they disappear to? Why did the old kingdom begin to show Toubab? Okay, 4th century, we talked about that. Now, if they were white, why is it the royal mummies possessed? Now we get into the big time stuff. We get into the big time stuff, brothers and sisters, because here we have something where we talk about the genotype. We talk about the genotype, right? We talk about this. We ask the question about the genotype. What is the genotype of the royal mummies? They were EM series. Remember, we talked about that, the EM series. So therefore, and you West Africans and you African Americans, Caribbean Africans, you guys carry the EM series, most likely on your mom's side, or maybe on your father's side, and your father's mother, and so forth and so on, carry this gene. And you've seen the chart I presented many times before. If they were white, why is the royal mummies possessing EM series genotype? Same as West Africans and African Americans. How can that be if they were white? If they were white, how did they become black? This is the other issue, brothers and sisters. If they were white, I mean, if they were black, they're white, and how did they turn black? Suddenly we have this confusion. They said they were white, but then they mixed, and they still stayed white. But suddenly, at one time or another, they became black. All this confusion. So, which one were they? Since the Exodus, they had their Exodus. Okay, now we go back into the Exodus. We talk about they left to go to West Africa. Anybody can prove to me or give me some indication that the West Africans were white first before they became black? Because the West Africans and the African Americans are descendant of the ancient Egyptians and Kemetic people, right? So what time in history, sitting in Ghana, sitting in present-day Cote d'Ivoire, or in the Sahel, or coastal West Africa, or Senegal, or Senegambia, they were white? And if they were white, how did they turn black? You see what I mean, brothers and sisters, what we're getting at here. What we're getting at here to show the silly scholarship, but you must combat them with things like this, not screaming and yelling with them or saying, yeah, we know they're black, because these people may not know, because they have been brainwashed to believe that everything was accomplishment. You saw that map I gave you. It showed Nubia going into the lower cataracts, and they showed them as white, because we don't have the scholarship to fight them off. But as I said to you before, the black scholarship is not being supported. We're not being supported. And this is a problem. This white scholarship that presents this type, you'll find, look how many black folks from Africa, from Europe, who are European Africans, African Americans, Canadians, Caribbeans, they support these groups. They support them. It's really a shame. I'll get to your question one more time after this. Hold this. I'm trying to get something. Point. Why did in Herodotus depicted them as black? Now we go back. The 27 dynasties after the period, if they were white, why did the dynasties, how did they become black? Because Herodotus came around the 27th dynasty, brothers and sisters. He said what? He said that the people were what? They were black. So again, we have the confusion. If they were white from the beginning, then they turned black, but then they turned white again. And then when they left Kemet to go to West Africa, they were white, and then they became black. I guess after they ate some dasheen, and after they begin to eat banana, and after they start to eat, guava and so forth and so on, they begin. Then they have fufu. Then they became black. I'm being facetious, but this is kind of like where it's going. Okay, with this type of scholarship. But I'm giving you this, brothers and sisters, so that way you can have your arguments when you join these sites, because they're everywhere now. And you may pull up your YouTube, and all of a sudden you see this man come and he show all of these people who were Caucasian and everything else. I'm gonna pull up Herodotus. Let me see if they took Herodotus's stuff out, because they've really, because that's why I was late today. They really pulled a big one on me today. They really, okay, here we go. Herodotus. Yeah, here we go. Let's see here. Put Herodotus's thing in here. They made it very difficult for me to even start my program today. Extremely difficult. No, okay, here we go. Okay. This is what Herodotus said. Now, he came into almost near the end of the Egyptian dynasties. In his book called Histories, look what he has to say about the people and why this is the crux of it, brothers and sisters. Why is the white scholarship calling this man a traitor, or they ignore him, or if they do, they talk about his other books, but they forget about, it's not they forget, they don't want to discuss this book of the histories talking about ancient Kemet. He says the Chaldeans, the Ethiopians, and the Egyptians had thick lips, broad nose, woolly hair, and they are burnt of skin. Now, this is one of their own. This is what they call him one of the fathers of history. Because Herodotus went many places, and we have to give this man credit, because he drew the depiction of the people even when he went into present-day Iran. He said they were black folk, but they were lighter brown. I mean, he said they were lighter brown in complexion, right? They were still black, but their hair was more curlier and wavier. He said that. So we have to give him credit. And so we beg the question, brothers and sisters, is the European scholarship, they throw him aside. Now, he was there. They weren't. Here's comes some racist scholar from today. He was not there 5,000 years ago, but Herodotus was. So how can he sit there and call Herodotus a liar when Herodotus was there? He wasn't. And we know because Herodotus wrote it in a book called Histories. It's all of this, brothers and sisters, is why we discuss this and we talk about this. Let's get here. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Yeah. Greetings, Lo. This man is pseudo. I'm caught here. I don't know which the truth is. The only thing stays in last verb. Yes, it's true. Let me go up here. We got here. How you doing, my dear brother? Oh, hey, brother, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a long time. Thank you for showing up today. Even the people in Levant were black. Yes, and many in ancient sites there are nose. Yes, and yet they destroyed those to hide this complexion. You're right, to hide these features. And you remember something, we're Muslims. What does Subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran? He said that he formed man from what? Black clay. Because that goes with the ancient Arabic word for jet black, Kemt, okay? Kemt and Metneher, They use the word Adam. That's how we come Adam and Eve. We come with Adam. Adams mean somebody is very, very black. And Subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I formed you from black mud. This is where the word Adam comes from in Arabic, meaning black. Very, very black. Not just black. I mean, very, very black. So thank you for showing up today, my dear brother. Good point here. And we have the truth is only one stays here. Yes, greetings. Our brother here, greetings. Yes, this man is pseudo. Okay, we don't know who you talk about. We don't know who you're talking about, brother. Please clarify your statement. I realize you live in this. Okay, I don't. Okay, yes, I don't know, brother Fred. Please. Okay, here we go. I see him further down. Let's go to the other ones here. Fred, you support the colonizer? No, now, brothers and sisters, please get. We get respectful. If you have something and you want to counter somebody's argument, you please give proof. We're not here to attack anybody. Okay, today I don't care who the person is. I don't care if he's a Toubab, if he's Asian, or if he's black, or whatever the situation is. Here today, we want to discuss this. We're not here to get into any too provocative comments to go attack somebody. If you disagree with his statement, you back up your statement to him or to me with scholarship. Okay, I appreciate it. I'm your elder. Don't do this. Okay, because if he says he's supporting the colonizers, then we know he's wrong. I didn't see this, but if I find it in here, I run anybody who said that, because he's not a true African. And if he is African, he's a turncoat. Whoever says he support a colonizer. They killed millions in Africa, and we're African people. They killed millions of us going to Africa, and then in Americas and in the Caribbean. So I don't know how any black person can support a Toubab who was doing this type of thing, doing the killing. I don't see how they could do it. Okay, shalom. Thank you for showing up, my dear brother. Thank you very much. Precursor to the Kemet are found in all the way to yes. Yes. My mother's DNA, I told you guys about this, about the LO series. There's LO1 and so forth. There's many LO2. There's many different of these. It's found, Jermaine, going from ancient Egypt into South Africa, because I'm also related to the late, great Nelson Mandela. We have the same genotype from my mom's side. So we know they went from Egypt down to South Africa, back from South Africa. I had all this in a map, and these guys, they wiped everything out. Okay, we don't have even a civil who supports these things. We should develop independent groups and councils and keep it exclusive. Yes, the problem we have, brothers and sisters, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I heard this brother talk the other day. And we have to also remember something. We have educators like our brother King Cam and others. They have contracts and they have students too that are non-Africans. We know that, right? See, so they have to be very cognizant of that, because they have students, and a lot of students, especially the Toubab, a lot of times they are sensitive because they hurt. Truly hurt because they know what their ancestors have done, so they're very sensitive. So we don't want to make it an impression that the evil ones that we're talking about in the past and the evil ones today, we don't want it to paint a broad brush and say all Toubab are wrong or they're bad. So we have to be very respectful in that regard, because not everybody, because there's, even in my day, I remember in my African class, we always had Toubab in there. These were because they were interested in learning really what happened in Africa. They truly were. They weren't there as racist. They weren't. The ones who were racist, they went to their own professors who promoted this stuff. They didn't come to the black African professors I had, because they wouldn't stand a chance. So we always had Toubab there. So we can't paint everybody, but we have to be very careful in this regard. And okay, we got, let's see where we at here. Okay, here, Herodotus Greek told the people Yes, they look like. And the modern people don't believe him either. Yes, they don't, or they're ignoring him. And I even saw one scholar called him a liar. And I started to laugh. I said, here you are in the 2020s, and Herodotus was there 5,000 years ago. So how you can call him a liar when you weren't even there? He was there. You know what I mean? You're right. Okay, Herodotus was a Toubab. Yes, he was. Yes, and they named him as like one of the fathers of history. And you have to take your hat off to him because he came and told the truth. That's all you can ask of a man. I don't care who he is. I don't care if he's Asian, tall and dark, or he's white man, short and fat. If the man gives a true picture of something, you have to take your hat off to them. You know that. We have to. Okay. Toubab is a law making a word for white man. Yes. And also in the for full dialect, especially in the corridor, Toubab also is a same thing. And like we talked about before, there's a derogatory word. I don't even use it, but for education, I will say it so people can understand, because there's contention that they think that, I don't know who wrote this, but Toubab means something like the N word, calling them. That's not true. It's actually a person who is Caucasian and so forth and so on. But it could be used as a weapon, as we know. Okay, Toubab, yes, it refers to white people, yes. And similar to Toubab tribe in Libya. Yeah, we know what's happened in Libya and all in North Africa. We know the Europeans, the Romans have been in North Africa for centuries on centuries, and they're going to mate with the women. We know that. But we also know, too, that a lot of the black tribes fought the Romans when the Romans began to invade, and then they began to go back into the Sahara. We know that, too. And many of the whites stayed there and died there and had children there. So this is all added into the mix. We know that. And our brother says here, right, they didn't believe in Herodotus either, and they saw him, yes, he firsthand, because they call him a traitor because they don't want him to put what he put, because they want to keep this narrative as the ancient Egyptians were white. It sounds familiar, similar. And our brother here says Egypt fell and was invaded by dynasty, and it fell, but when it fell, it wasn't dominated by Kush in Nubia. When it fell by the 26th dynasty, the ancient dynasties as we understood them were just about finished. They're gone, because when my ancestor Shabaka had it, he revived it, and then his son took over. His son was Shabataka. That's in it. Taka. See, again, I go back to linguistics, but I won't touch it right now. But his son, by the time his son got it, they began to, in earnest, wrestle the kingdom away. And by the 27th dynasty, the Persians were already in command. We know this to be the case because we have written documents that they left themselves. And Herodotus did too. Herodotus counts means nothing. Well, no, you I don't know how you can say that, my dear brother, because he wrote his book. He was there. He was there at that time, and so his accounts, why is not believed. You want to believe the accounts that the historians of today, white and black, say. And I ask you this question, my dear brother: if they were white from the beginning, they mixed with the Nubians, how did they stay white? I'm asking you, give us an answer to this. How do they stay white? And then I ask you this, the second question is, when you look at their language and what they left, they talk about people. They use the word ba. Remember, we talked about this before, ba. But they describe black people in very distinct terms. They call their land Kemet, and then talking about the land of black people. Then they call one black person Kemti. This is what they call themselves. So my dear brother, if you're saying that the ancient Egyptians were white, why would a white man describe himself as Kemti? Huh? How? And why would he describe all of the white people of Egypt, who you said were white? If you believe this, he called them Kemtiu, meaning black people. You explain that to us. If you say Herodotus' account is nothing, you say they were white, I'm asking you, you explain that. And why is it that the white invaders, who they took their DNA, show our series, which is true for Europeans? They were invaders. But why was the royal mummies shown to be EM? And the EM is traced to my ancestors in West Africa and African Americans in the Caribbean as well, and also our East African brothers and sisters and of South Central Africans as well. So you give us your impression, because you made a comment. Now you back up your play. We're asking you a question now, our dear brother. If they were white, then why would they call themselves black? It don't make sense. Video answers of the Toubab. Okay, yeah, we're not talking about Libya. We're not talking about Libya. That is something that's another story altogether. That's talking about the history. We know what happened when they began to take foothold. We know that which was very true. We know that the Greeks. We know that the tribal people came from. We know Jazir Arab. They were white invaders. They bypassed the coastline of, we know, Egypt today, and they settled into Libya. We know this is the case, and they formed groups to combat, to overtake Kemet. And we know they were white groups. No doubt, it's true. And they finally took over, but they didn't take over in the first dynasty. And this is what I'm saying. Even by the 27th dynasty, Herodotus said they were black. But I'm asking our good brother who said Herodotus' accounts were nothing, I'm asking him a question about that. How is it that they call themselves black by calling one man Kemti, and Kemtiu mean all? I want him to answer that. I guess would he say, capital Memphis, Herodotus, these cities were wicked? Yes. And Punter, yeah, okay, yes. But you, brother, earlier you said his accounts were not valid. So now you tell us this. Yes, we know what they did. They plundered, they invaded, and they took over Egypt in time. We know that to be the case. Okay, let me get back to some more questions here that I have. If they were white, why is the royal mummies possessing? Okay, we talked about that, and in the Exodus of there's just some things just don't make sense when we look at this again. It doesn't make sense at all, because if the people were as they said they were, then why they turned? Where was the period they turned black and then they became white again? Impossible. Okay, impossible. We know by genetics that the black man, if he comes to a population like what happened in Spain, that population is absorbed into the black race. It will be absorbed, especially by 3 generations. It's gone. Look at what happened in Spain. When the Fulani, Bambara, the Senike, Amazigh, Tuareg, they were black folk at the time of 711 to going towards the 1000s. They took Spanish women as handmaidens and wives, and they mated them to death. Because some of these Spanish women, they had 50, some 60. They had reports, others had 100 of these handmaidens. This is where the word harem came in. Remember, harem of women? And they had 50, 60, 80, some had 100 children from these Spanish women. These people became Melungeons and others. They were not white anymore. So we asked the question, about 2,500, 3,000 years before that, you had whites, you say, in Egypt. They mixed with the Nubians because they traded, they had wars, they had each other's women, they made it. How did they stay white all these centuries if they start mating with black people? Genetically, it's impossible. Impossible. Again, why did Herodotus depict them as black? And and again, we go to You don't want to believe me or any other black person, but here's one of the fathers of history, Herodotus, who was white, Greek, told what they were. He described them very, very well. He was there. So this is a big, big part. If they were white, well, when did they were, yes. When did the dynasties become black? How can you have a transformation that quick? And then they came white again. You see the confusion here we have. When a Jewish scientist tested the hair, now we go into another issue. I talked about this in class before. A Jewish geneticist took the royal mummies and their hair. They gave numbers. The silky hair Europeans, they have 70, 80, 90, 100% the hair is straight. The straighter the hair, the higher the number. The more kinkier the hair, 50 and lower, is the hair is kink. That's generally the black people, they say range from 65 to 35. This is the number that's given. Some of the native Egyptians were 33. Their hair was so kinky that even the numbers that he presented, they were even more kinkier than he had tested. That he realized. So again, how can a Toubab, a Caucasian European, have hair like this? And he's Toubab. He's not black man, he's Toubab. How? See, that's another issue. Kinky hair. And where did these groups go? We still asking, where did these legendary groups go? We know what has happened in when they finally took over. We know that the Egyptian people began to even mix more, and then the big exodus occurred. And when that exodus occurred, we have black folk going to East Africa, as we understand it today. Ethiopia, Somaliland, Eritrea, Kenya, South Central. They start going there, and they went to West Africa. So if they were white, when was it they turned black in South Central Africa? When did they turn black? When they entered West Africa? Because there was no people in West Africa at that time. Subhanahu wa ta'ala finally opened it up, and they went through the Sahara and they went south. So there was no other people. So how did they turn black? By the sun? By eating dashin? Or they ate bananas or something? How did they turn black? This is what we're getting at, brothers and sisters, and why this is something. I'll get to your questions one more in a minute here, brothers and sisters. If they were Toubab, as fairy means pharaoh, they had to list their soul. This is more proof, brothers and sisters. If the person is Toubab, he became pharaoh. He's the pharaoh under the Neher. They had 5 names. The 4th name is the Sultan Ba. Remember, Sultan means the south of. Ba means the people. So Sultan Ba, meaning it's no different in vernacular we have today. I asked a brother, I'm in LA, and King Cam he comes over, from Texas. I say, hey, brother, what's your Texas name? See, this is how, I give you the kind of correlation like this. You know that the people who were kings of of Kemet were black. We know, okay? But we're talking about incidents because now we still talking about scholarship that they were white. Then they had to have a southern name. So where is the legendary white tribes of Nubia? Because if you're going to be pharaoh, you had to have the 4th name, which is Sultan Ba. Means you had who was your clan in Nubia? The Ba people. The Ba. Who were your Ba people? Ba meaning in this instant the people. What clan were they? See, you had to give that name. If they were European, the Europeans didn't originate from Nubia. They originate from Europe. This is again showing you the fallacy of the argument that they have. You give this evidence, brothers and sisters. When you see these idiots get up here talk, and there's a lot of them on YouTube, you ask them, so what about Toubab? Have them ask that question, answer that. So, well, if they were Caucasian, then you trying to tell me that the Nubians were Caucasian because they had to give their southern name meaning from the area of Nubia today, we understand today, right? Sudan region. So how? Where did it come from? See, this is, again, we have a lot of evidence here that we can use, which they're Nubian names. In the period of Herodotus, they were Toubab. Now, again, you have murals painting the Nubians as black. We ain't talking about the silly maps I show you here in modern times where they show Nubians white. Forget that. Because we know, again, if they were white, how did they turn black? Sudan has been black. So why do you think they call it Sudan? Sudan means black people. I mean, everywhere you turn, I don't care how they go about it, you're going to get caught with the word black in it. If it's in the north, it's Kemetic. If it's to the south, it's Sudan. I mean, everywhere you turn, and if you go to the west, it's Takruni. So everywhere you turn, they said they're white. How we come up with these terms meaning black people? Takruni means black folk from the corridor, West Africa. Okay, Sudan covers all of the region of the from all of the Sahara, all of West Africa and the Savannah and the Sahel. To the north, the people are called Kemetic. So that means black people. Everywhere you turn, brothers and sisters, they're going to lose. This is the evidence that you need to do to fight them. I've already had an argument with, and I put argument meaning we debated this, not, hey man, call them names back for no. And I gave him this. They could not answer. So he stopped to respond. I wonder why. Okay, we got here, where we at? Yes, the most they had kinky hair because that Jewish scientist tested their hair and he gave them numbers and they were under 50. That means these brothers had some kinky hair. Okay, very kinky. This is atypical of our trait. They weren't white. Yeah, Arabs can't even stand the heat. How they tell Caucasians thriving in the desert. Yes, that's another reason too, because Subhanahu wa ta'ala, in his wisdom, he made people to live in regions. And when they lived in regions, they had to take in, because you understand genetics. Why blacks are not prone to skin cancer. Why? Because Subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us this melanin in the skin to help us to absorb the sun rays, right? Whereas the Toubab doesn't have that much melanin. So that way he is more prone to diseases from the sun. I'm talking about from when he gets down to the southern regions, coming into Africa, and especially going to the tropics, he can get sunburn. There's a sun poisoning that happens because of the vitamin K. There's others, you get sun rash. There's a lot of different varieties that affect them that don't affect us. We have to be honest. When we enter into northern tiers of Europe, we get disaffected because we can't handle the cold. Now, in modern times, we're not talking about modern times because we have coats, we have cars, we have all kinds. We got things that heat you up. We're talking about the way it was. Black folk just are not conducive for cold weather. Okay, bottom line, and we still not to a degree. See, so this is very interesting as well. One, the Nubian wig wore a Nubian wig, same with the. No, let me tell you something, brother. They showed something. They were talking about wigs and so forth and so on. This is a concoction. I'm gonna tell you why. When the scientists begin to test these royal mummies, that's their hair, because they braided their hair. I showed pictures 2 days ago of the brothers who still carry the hairstyles that it looks like it looks like wigs, but it's not a wig. That's their hair. See, and I showed you pictures of these 4 little girls, beautiful little black girls from Egypt who are native to Egypt, and you see their hair and so forth and so on. Okay, these are not wigs. Okay, I say this is Hebrew. I'm not Egyptian. They enslaved my people. I just know that they weren't Caucasian. They were Africans. Am I? Okay, yeah, they were Africans. We know that. The Kemetic, this is another thing that uh, the enemy drove up to divide the people. They come up with this Kemetic term, meaning they were black, but they're not really black, so they can divide us. And so you're African. If you're there in East Africa, or you're in West Africa, or you're in South Africa, if you're Zulu, you're African man, you're a black man. If you go over to Senegal and you Wolof, you're black. There's no Kemetic and so forth and so on. But this is what the Caucasians used in order to divide us. In order for a man to be king, it must be his mother. Yes, see, that's the issue. Yes, this is the issue. There it is. Now, if he's Caucasian, he's Toubab, where is his tribe in Nubia? Somebody explain that. Please, can somebody explain where is this legendary tribe of white folk down in Nubia? Where? See, this is this. And I want to know something else too. Why did these people, these Toubab, call themselves Kemti and Kemtiu if they were white? Who in their right mind will call themselves black when they were white? This is the issue. Well, alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi. Thank you, my dear brother, for showing up today. Thank you very much. Do the Sudanese people today know this? If not, they're pissed when they find out. Well, see, yes, the Sudanese people today, you heard my classes, those who heard my classes, the issue today in Sudan is twofold. One is who is real Arab, not African, Arab. Who is real African? Okay, real Arab and Sudani, which is it's a paradox because Sudani is black, meaning black man. But Arab, who is real Arab? This is the issue in Sudan today, not African. See, and so we have many brothers. I was there, 2008, 2009. Many of them, it's not that they don't identify with Black Africa because they've taken the Arab culture, language, and everything else, right? So they don't identify with them, even though they are of them, because the Sudanese people carry the EM series too. So they are part of our family, even though they're Arabs. See, I kid you not, someone who told me that the Nubians were white during Christian time because some, depiction. Yeah, I saw a thing in YouTube today where this man went off talking about the big Christian empire of Nubia. And I was trying to figure what was he talking about. And then he showed pictures, again, like a map of olden times that they were white. And I cut it off after that. I didn't want to see the rest of that. Ancient Kemetic word, the Sudanese, right? Yes, we know this, and it's very true, dear brother. We talked about that because even their depiction on the murals and hieroglyphics, they said they came from the mouth of the Nile. We know that the Nile. We know the Nile. I showed a map last week showing all the rivers that fed into the Nile. This is where they came from, and they have names from these areas. We know Egypt, Ta Mary, Holy Land. We know Ta Seti was Nubia, Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somaliland, all this area there in Sudan proper. They call this Ta Seti. But the land to the south of there, they call it what? Ta Nejer. See? Meaning the Holy Land, the Great Holy Land. That's where they said they originated from. They took boats, and I don't know how they traversed no, it's true. No, because they went against gravity. That's right. They took the boats and they traveled and made their way up north. See, so this is interesting. I don't know what you mean by that, my dear brother. Look at afar, and yes, and look images of yes, they still carry hairstyles. Have you noticed that? It's true. And the people of Ethiopia, the people of Somaliland and Somalia and stuff like that, they're no different than the Fulani people. The difference is, remember you heard me talk about this. Now the Fulani people who were in Messer, by the time they begin to migrate out, they came in first as the Sao people. We know that. They came as the Sao people, and they were jet black in color. They went into northern, to Lower Egypt, which is northern Egypt today, and they formed there, became aristocrats, and so forth, and they intermarried a lot with the Greeks. This is why we have these unique features among the Fulani. These features have stayed with us for all these centuries. They became the Ka people at this time. They became the Ka people because they were almost like the caretaker. Their names, everything about this religion, they took it. That's why you see today names of the Fulani people, my people. We have a lot of Ka and we have a lot of Ba. All that stems from ancient Egypt. When they begin to move out, you have Fulani people. Okay, let's look at it this way. Okay, let me get this map. We can talk better about that. Where we got that map? Here. Yeah. Okay. We look at this here, and you see, you start to go south. The Fulani people began to go. Some of the family went to the east, became more of the Ethiopians, some Eritreans, and the others went west, and they became Fulani. That's why it's extremely difficult to tell the difference between those from Ethiopia and Somaliland, Somal, and the Fulani, and even many Hausa and many Kanuri people too. It's very, very, very difficult to tell the difference in that. So that's how that came about. And see where we're at here. We're at King Cam trying to find this statement. Yeah. Look at the yes, and so and the ancient Egyptians, the Kemetic people. If you look at the murals, look at the Fulani people, and look at how they had their hair. They still carry the same hairstyles today, and in Ethiopia and Somalia and Eritrea and so forth, they still carry these hairstyles. It's very, very interesting. They proved that they were no slaves in Kemet already. We found a work sites of people who built pyramids. They split towns into, yes, yes, we know that, and we know the dynasties that transpired. There's a lot of myths that talk about the so-called Jewish enslavement. I won't get into that at this time because that's a whole new separate issue. I talked a little bit about that because there's a lot of documentation, especially in the book of Fourth Day by Coming by Fourth by Night. There's a lot of documentation talking about the when the Jews left out, but they had a different name, and then they became the Hebrews and so forth. I went through this, and I won't try this case again today because it's very, very lengthy and so forth. But we know that the greatest pyramids were built in the Fourth Dynasty, and especially the Giza. They were something else with this with this alignment of the pyramids that represent the solar system, and plus the Orion and the Sirius star system. Very, very fascinating. Why would the Toubab call themselves black and they were white? That's the argument. When our brother said this, Herodotus, his contribution was nothing, it's overstated. I asked a question to him, as you all heard. I asked him to say, dear brother, if this is the case, then why would a Toubab call himself black? Okay, I mean, we have to look at it for what it is. Maybe they were the majority, and yes, like the black people among the Bilad and Sudan who would be Arab. Yes, they could use this argument, but we still have a problem because we have the murals that were drawn of themselves, and we have documentation talking about them and when they were in the region and so forth and so on. And they always made a distinction between the two, because when they talked about themselves and whatnot, when they talked about their brothers to the south, they call them Tahashi. Tahashi means very black people. See, when they call themselves Kemtiu, meaning the black people, all, and Kemti for one, as black. But again, even in Arabic, classical Arabic, and my wife was talking about that the other day, in even classical Arabic, we have a form of Kemt. And most of all West African dialects, we still carry this word Kemt, meaning charcoal, burnt, scalded. I mean, there's a lot of meanings to this. See, so we have to look at this for what it is and whatnot. The Tamara, another name for Tari. I can't remember. There's a few names I know that they had. The most famous ones that always stuck in my mind is Tom Mary and Kempt. And there's another one too. Maybe King Camp can remember. There's another name they use for ancient Kempt as well. Tom Mary, Kempt, and there was another. I'm not sure, Linda, if this is it. I can't remember, but I know there's another one they called their land, but I can't remember. Maybe King Camp can recall that. Tom Mary is what we know is, and my sister was saying here that they were called Tama, but see, Tama is not. I don't know. I think you better look at that again, my sister, because I don't know where the Tom, because Ta, yes, that's part of it, but Tama, I don't think it is. Look at that again and see, because I think it should be Tari, but I never heard that before. I never heard that before. Ta Mary, we know this, and we have Ta and Ta Seti, yes, and we have Ta Mary, yes. See, and Ta Nutter is Punt, yes. See, so I never know that name that she was talking about for ancient, but I heard of another word that they use for ancient Egypt, but I can't recall what that is, and I'm going to be. Okay, we got more, a few more questions, and then that'll be about it. Kinky hair, I covered that, and this is the last one. Okay, if they were Toubab, they had to list their sultan name as a sultan ba name, and this is some of the things to refute these people, and so. I do this today, brothers and sisters, to help you when you have these arguments, even in your classrooms and you're in school, when this professor, and you be polite, brothers and sisters, because when you attack them, they won't be able to hear your scholarship. So when you talk to them calmly and you say, look, Bill, Professor Bill, or the teacher, whatever his name is, you start presenting a lot of these facts and let him figure it out. See, so you don't insult them in such a way. They may be insulted anyway because you're going to know more, but you present your case to them, and I give you some paradoxes. We gave it today. This is why we have this today. We talk about, because I wanted everybody to give their input. And even our brother said it right. Why would white people call themselves black? It doesn't make sense. It don't. See, it just doesn't make sense. And then if they were white, when did they turn black in West Africa? When they went to West Africa, there was no black people there. They became the West Africans. So how did they turn black? I mean, you know what I mean? And we know genetics, white people cannot produce black people. Black people can produce white people. We know that. So this is a lot of issues that we trump them. And this is why you have to be on your P's and Q's when you start to deal with this and you use some of this evidence. Yes, that's right. Yes, and that is, they loved their land, and they believed that the Egyptian people, the Kemetic people, they felt were the best people in the world, and that was exhibited in their hieroglyphics. It's very, very interesting. they still even carry some references of Kempt to wear in clothing like pet. Yes, it's true. Even if you look at some there's that one sister I know. I found her and I didn't know who she was, but she was I disagree with what she's doing, but that's her business. She was modeling because she's okay, very, very beautiful, and she's a relative. I didn't know that she was my relative. I found her in Jet Match. I was going through, she's a distant relative of mine. She's Fulani, but she used to model, and she used to model in ancient Fulani type clothing. If you look at the clothing that she had on, okay, do you know it's that of ancient Kemet? I don't know if I can find her picture. If I can find her picture, brothers, sisters, real fast, I'm going to see if I can get her picture here. And she lives in northern Nigeria. Photo library. Let me see if I can get her. See, we can find her here. If I can find her, I'm gonna show her real quick. And you look at the clothes that she's got on. Okay, here we are. Here. Okay, let me see if this is. We'll see if this will fit here. That's okay. Now look. Okay, this is her. Look at the clothing that she has on. But she's a Muslim, of course, in modern times, of course, but look what she's got on. The hairstyle, the shawl around the hair, all this is ancient Egyptian, the originality. She's a Fulani girl. And I found her in my DNA, my jet match. And I didn't know until I pulled her up and I said, wow. I said, this is her. And so she lives in Kaduna. I think Kaduna is where she was living. That was almost about now going on almost 5 years now, 4 years. But you see the clothing and so forth, the shawl around the hair, the way and the hairband, all this is originating out of ancient Egypt at one time. And she's my cousin's very, very beautiful woman, as you can see here. She's very, very, very beautiful woman. So let's go back here to our brother here, the Ethiopian clothing as well. Yes, dear brother, you're right. And again, we go back, my dear cousin, this is true. The difference between the Fulani and the Ethiopian is like what? Tiny bit. We may speak different languages, but that's it. We carry some of the same cultural traits and everything. Why, when the Fulani person goes to Habasha, nobody knows until you start to talk and discuss. Then they realize they're Fulani, but they blend right in because we are the same people. Was another name meaning land of that. Yeah, now he's, where you guys get that? Because maybe King Cam, maybe he can, because I haven't heard this term before that you and my sister said. I know of another word they called ancient Kemet, but I didn't know it was this one. That's very interesting. Another name meaning land of Yara. Yes, that's very, very interesting, brother. Very, very interesting. You and my sister brought that fact up. I didn't know this name. I didn't know it. If there's a book of Fulani history you recommend, because I've been informed by a family of history of the Greeks and Fulani, but I can never find anything. Yes. The only way, there's not a lot of, and I don't blame our African scholars. To be honest with you, we got Fulani scholars. I don't blame any of them because we don't support them. Okay? I mean, so why should they go out and do a lot of things when we don't support them? And it's true. I saw this brother today on YouTube from Senegal. I wrote to him, and he's a scholar, Fulani history. He been in the business of presenting this fact about Fulani people. Guess how many subscribers after 5 years he's got? 200. Come on now. Come on, brothers and sisters. Come on now. You have scholarship like this who goes deep into the history, and he's only got 200 subscribers. Come on now. That's wrong. And this is why we have this problem. King Cam should have thousands and thousands of people in his on his platform. I should have thousands of thousands, but people just won't support us. They just won't. Now, I will say this. If I start touching on Black nationalism and some stuff like some of the others, I'll probably go into thousands. If I start going into sexual charged things and gossip about who's messing around with whom, I probably have it in the thousands. But history is going to be very difficult. Most likely, it won't come about. Yes, I have not had the chance to read all of it. I read some of it, and I read it in English, and I didn't like that. I wanted to read it in Arabic, and from out of Mali. Yes, it's a beautiful history, and whatnot. I want to. As a matter of fact, was one person who he photographed when he was there in Timbuktu. He photographed, and he had excerpts in YouTube, but they threw it out, like maybe copyright. I don't know, but I want to read this book in Arabic. Someone told me the other day that they did have in Arabic. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna find out. But yes, it's a beautiful history. Yep. Okay. And she looks royal. Yes. Yes. Those clothing again. Our brother said it. My Fulani cousin said it best. It looks like the Ethiopian type clothing as well. It's very difficult to tell the difference, because my dear cousin, she can step into Habasha, Ethiopia today, or Eritrea. They'll say she's Ethiopian. They'll even say she's from Somaliland. They'll say she's even Djibouti. They'll say all of that, when in fact she's from northern Nigeria. See, so that goes to show you. Yes, yes. And I heard that Tawi, yeah, that may be. I don't know if King Cam, if he that's seemed like to me. I heard something about the Tawi, but what was that I read about that? Yeah, I heard something, but I didn't know if I don't know if they call Kemp that Tawi. Yeah, I remember this term here. I haven't heard about that. Pretty cool. Yes. And I was at a bus stop. Yes, or mistaking me for yes. I bet they did. I bet they did, because you look like you from Habasha too, man. I mean, from Ethiopia. Yes. I mean, it's easy. It's very, very, very easy. And what's the brother's YouTube name with the two? Oh man. Oh. Oh man. I got to get that to you, because I can't remember his name, because I look at a lot of programs. I can't think of his name now after all these years. He's got only 200 subscribers. And I think maybe language barriers too, because he speaks Pular, and that could be it to a degree too, but still, I mean, I just can't believe that he only had 200. I can't think of his name right offhand. Yes, maybe that's what. Yeah, what is that? Because I can't remember what this is. King Camp, enlighten me on that. It's been on my mind to make a video on why it's important to learn that African tribes and history and pass it down. Yes, you should, because you have an audience, my dear brother, and you should do that. It's incumbent upon you to do that. You should. All of us who have some form of knowledge should pass this knowledge on and give it to our children so they can pass this knowledge on, because we need to do this. It's important, brothers and sisters. And this African custom, because we did this before into the colonial period, then they put an end to that. Means two lands united. Oh, okay, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, that's where I saw. Then it had to be in the book, forthcoming by day and night. That's probably where I saw it. Now you enlighten me on. Now I remember. Yes, I remember what you said there It's true. Thank you, my dear brother, for giving me that information. And we have, but I know some will pull up and say, yes, we have this issue again, brothers and sisters, among Black folk, especially in the Western Hemisphere. This is a tough nut to crack. We have people who won't proclaim African history. You heard me when I gave a speech talking about this same issue, why they won't proclaim themselves as Africans. And this is really a shame. And it's like killing one part of yourself. So how can a person get whole when you diss your African heritage? And I've seen this all along, and it's not right. But we have to be honest, here on the continent, we have people who said they were Fulani people. When you start talking about ancient Egypt, they'll swear that they had nothing to do with it. And I think maybe it was on your site. No, it wasn't your site. I don't know what site. I had trouble with the sisters on one site where that one sister was claiming that the real Fulani people are those who in the Western quarter. I couldn't believe she said that. And then when she said that, I asked her, so what about the Fulani people in Nigeria and Niger and stuff like that? And she basically tried to say they weren't real Fulani. This type of stupid scholarship like this is wrong. Okay. And we have a problem. And, I gave you the analogy again. African Americans now are talking about the Mexicans, because Mexicans are now starting to do their DNA. And many of them, you look at them on the tube, on YouTube and so forth, they're about ready to die when they find out they got 3%, 5%, some 10% African heritage, and they just can't stand it. And I see African Americans telling them, you need to accept your African history. I said, wait a minute. You black man and woman over there in the United States, to a degree, you won't accept your African heritage. So why are you asking the Mexican to accept his heritage when you won't even accept it? I've been to Ethiopia. There's many, yes, most of them. Yes, there's many, and some are lighter skinned because now we have mixture too. We've had mixtures with other races. People come, so things like this going to happen. Ethiopia is diverse. I know every African American man that been to Ethiopia, all have said the same thing about the sisters there and the beauty. Same way when I was in Sudan. Malcolm X made the same comment. Al-Hajj, we finally know him as, when he was in Sudan, he said the same thing about the Sudani women. He said they're by far the most beautiful black women he's ever seen. And I know what he's talking about because I was there in 2008. Now, one day you said, no, man, I never seen anything like this girl before. And the next day there's one that even looked better than her. So that whole region like that, you'll find these kind of sisters that are just, their beauty is just off the charts. You can't believe how beautiful they are. Yes, good, my dear brother. That's good. And our brother, yes, he said the United. That's the name of that's the name of the king. I think, is that the name of the king, my dear brother? Because I'm still lost on that. I saw it, but I didn't pay too much attention to it. Yes, brother, it's a great country, culture, food, people. Yes. I remember one African American. I don't want to give his name in Facebook. I was friends with him for a while. He went over to Habasha. Excuse me, that's Arabic for Ethiopia. He went to Ethiopia, and what happened with him? He got tangled up, not tangled in a bad way, but you know what I mean. He had his time with some of the girls there, and he was so struck he can't seem to want to look at any other woman anymore. He only want these girls from Ethiopia. So when he went back to California, that's all he would seek. He went to Oakland to try to find him an Ethiopian wife and all this. Brothers, I know brothers go there, they just get mesmerized. I know brothers who went to Sudan, is the same thing. They were shocked at the beauty of black women they saw there. But you know what? I'm going to tell you something, be honest. All through Africa, you're going to find women off the chart. You come here to Morocco. You'll find some stunningly beautiful girls. They're very, very pale complected, very beautiful girls. Then you find them very, very black to the south, beautiful. And those mixed in between, cafe au lait color, some copper color, you find all that. You go here, Algeria, you start to find, you go to Senegal. In Africa, we have beautiful women all over the place. And you have all kinds of distinct features and body builds and height and weight, and hair textures, all of that here. See, so you find any of that, and that's why I always said when the African American or the Caribbean comes over to Africa, it's far easier for him to have a wife here than it is over there, and that's a simple fact. And it's a shame, but it's a simple fact. So we have any more questions? We have more people to come on now. If there's any more questions, please throw them out there. What was the name of the pharaoh? Okay, yes. Yes. And there was a contention I read too about that they said his name was Amun, and it's wrong. There's a African scholar who refuted this claim that Narmer, his real name was Amen, and then Amen, and it's not true. So now we got, because I read something about this, but I didn't read too much into that. What is the ancient name of Ethiopia? I don't know what the ancient name is for Ethiopia. Well, it has to be Kush, because that was part of it. I mean, but maybe I think it was Kush, but maybe King Cam, because I don't know if you still hear Kush. It's got to be Kush. That's the ancient, but maybe there's another one in the local dialect. They have another name. I'm not sure. And then I saw it on a video from. Oh, it's okay. Okay, well, yeah, Linda, my sister, you have access to. I don't have that access here in Africa to see this type of channel here. But okay, that's good. Yes, yes. But I tell you something. When I look at the name Tama, it doesn't look Metaneher. What throws me off is the MA, because I don't. It kind of throws me off there. How you doing, my dear brother? Why the focus on Egypt? I would suggest to you, my dear brother, you subscribe, and then you check my my listening videos. I cover all kind of stuff: Islamic history, all kind, the invasion of anomalous. I cover many. I talk about the Sahel. I talk about Sudan. I talk about a lot. I talk about focus on Egypt because we still are being hijacked from that. And I've been talking about Egypt for a while because it's very important for us as Black people that we understand Egypt, because we should. And even the word Egypt in itself is not even its name that our Black ancestors kept. It's Kemet and Ta Mary. If you're going to say the real, that's it. Egypticus came from the Greeks. We shorten it to Egypt. But our ancestors in Meneher called these two words, the Kemet and Ta Mary. That's what they called it. They didn't call it Egypt, because that's the Greek word for it. Yeah. Thank you, my dear brother. Yes, thank you, my dear brother, on this. And let's get back to our dear brother here. He's a wider focus. What would you suggest, our dear brother, respectfully? What would you suggest in this sense? Or are you trying to say, is it a good thing that we talk about this? Lighten us, because you only gave us a small sentence here. Tell us what you're talking about here. Okay. Yeah, depends on who's talking. Yes, my dear brother. Axum is the other one. Yes, the ancient names and Kush. This is the names that we know them. So just exploration. I'm lost, brother. I don't know what you mean by that. If you came late, my dear brother, I'm not sure, because when you sometimes we have misinterpretations of what we write. I was talking about ancient Kemet, because we've had white scientists, we had white Egyptians, and we have many people, Asians and alike, even black folk, say that ancient Egypt was Caucasian, or Toubab. And I'm giving evidence to those who have been following me, how you argue with those who said that the ancient Egyptians, the Kemetic people were white. So I gave evidence to this for the last couple of weeks to refute their claims that they were white. And I said to them, I said to our folks here, you don't fight them with yelling and screaming. That's not going to cut it. You fight them by giving evidence. This is the key, by giving them evidence. Would you recommend that we go back to Shinkinti, to check out the Islam? Yes, I want to go there too, in Mauritania. But you know what? I heard they started to clamp down after some had went into Jazira Arab. They used their time there, and then they went to make jihad in Jazira Arab. We won't get into that. I talked about that issue many times. I won't talk about that right now. So I heard they made some very stringent moves to prevent people from going over there to study. So this is what I heard. But yes, it'll be very interesting to find that, because they're in the southern part of Mauritania, and the Islamic scholarship there under the Malazama system is off the charts. You're right. Okay, the language preceded this for calling the dimension. Yes, they did. Yes, and King Ham is devoting a lot of time talking about this issue, especially about Kush as well. So he can, I don't spend a lot of time on Kush and Nubia, maybe as I should, because I concentrate on Egypt, because Egypt, Kemet, is because this is where, again, I'm fighting the ignorance and some of the racism as well. I concentrate on that because I want to clear this up, and I have more of a love for that. Why? Because I had my vision and my ancestor, the Shabaka, okay, actually is the name Shabaka, or and Medneher would be Shab, say Shab, and Medneher, but Shabaka and so forth. So I concentrate on ancient Kemet and so forth and so on, because to me it's very fascinating. From many years, even when I was in college, I started to really study about ancient Kemet, and I was fascinated. But I was also always in the mode of trying to fight our distractors by saying that Kemet was never black when it came during the New Kingdom. Okay, yes, it came. Yes, that the new. You're right. It came. I thought it even came in almost in the middle, but you're right. It came in the New King. Yes, it came. Yes, it did. A new script, because it was. Yes, you're right, dear brother. Because it. I thought it was already. I thought it was around the 23rd dynasty that they start to come. No, you're right. It was in the. Yeah, I can't remember now, but you're right. You're right. The script. You're correct on that. You're correct. What is the hustle in your? I don't know. Now, brother, now you getting off topic here. Now, come on now. What is the hustle in your opinion? I don't know what you talk about. Please clarify that. So, okay, I did this. I did come last week. Okay. Okay. Tell me what you, okay. Thank you for the clarification. Okay, my dear brother. Yes. Okay. Ethiopia was the yes. Ethiopia was the grandmother of Kemet, and this is true. And this is another reason why we know that Kemet had to be black, because if the people came from the south and came into Kemet and became the Kemetic people, so when did they become white? When they traveled up the Nile to go further north, and as they start going further, their skin start to change until they became blonde and brown haired and with red beards. I mean, someone please enlighten me on that. Ancient Egyptian wasn't all dark. No, we know all periods of time, but the ancient people were. The ancient people were black people. We got that proof, and you're just not coming late, my dear brother. I ask you a question. If the ancient Egyptians were white, why did they call themselves, when you read text. They called their land Kemet, meaning the land of black people, and they called a black man Kemti, okay, black person, Kemti, meaning, he's a black man, and he called the race of black people themselves, they call themselves Kemtiu, meaning all the race of people there, all the black people there in ancient Kemet. If they were white, why would they call themselves black? This is what we're getting at. Remember, they're now, yes, from the north to the south, they run against the gravity. We covered about this before. And remember, I gave a map the other day showing all of the rivers running all the way from Cameroons and the central part of South Central Africa, going feeding into the Nile. And this is where they said they originated from in the hieroglyphics. They said they originated from the mouth of the word beginning. The beginning is all those rivers there. That's where they begin. And if this is the case, they had to be black, because there's no time in the Cameroons that the people were white. Never, ever. In the South, in the Central African Republic, the people were never white. So how did they become white? This is the argument we're talking about today. And I want somebody who inclined to believe this, give us your reason why you know they were white. This is what we want. If you said they were white, give a scholarship. Don't say, well, it was obvious they were white. Give us your scholarship on why you know they were white. For such an area of land, it was a shame that we only have Greek name. Yes, yes, and I know it's a West African term. Yes, and also it had a term meaning for Africa. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ called Ethiopia Habasha. See, we know this in Arabic. We call them. We don't use the word Ethiopia in this context. We don't use it. We call Habasha. We call this region Habasha. See, so again, I don't know even. I'm going to look this up, because you have Ha, Ba. There's the Ba again, and Shah, and there and King Cam said Shah had to do with the stars. So we have Ha, Ba. Ba we know is what? Meaning, remember, part of the Ka religion. And Shah, I still designate that it came from a region, or there's some place or something. See, Shah is a people, or a place of people, or something like this in the area. So this is what I believe is to be. King Cam said that he knows of the word Shah, meaning the stars. See, so we have a lot of information there to talk about, and I don't think there was even solid in terms of color. Wait, brother. I don't know. I don't think they even saw themselves into. No, brother. No, it's not true. Why, when they depicted the murals, what did they paint themselves as? I'm talking about, okay, before the Europeans become, they showed themselves as black. They put in their documents that their land, the land of black people, they called Kemet. Okay, this is Med Neher. And again, brother, they said of themselves they were Kemtiu. They were black people. This is all black people. We call ourselves Kemtiu. See, and for one black man is Kemti. So this is, they did think of it. That's why I said that the first black nationalism wasn't in Los Angeles or New York City. It came out of ancient Kemet, because they were nationalistic. Brother said that, yes, yes. And Ethiopia was known as Habas. Yeah, and I don't know, we have our brother, he's not here. I don't think he's here yet. He's from Somalia. I know some Ethiopian brothers and sisters that told me that Abyssinia is a bad word. I mean, it's like a derogatory term, because it's not originated out of any African dialect. I don't know where the word, we have to look that up, because I can't remember now. I remember a long time ago, decades ago, but I know many Ethiopians didn't like this term, Abyssinia. They didn't like it. So, and I try to call the people what they are. So Brothers and sisters, if there's any more questions or anything like this, we got somebody got something else here. Wait a minute. Okay, okay. Come last week. Okay, thank you for clarification. Ethiop's grandmother, yes, and we got here trying ancient. It wasn't okay. We talked about this. Remember now ran from south north, yes, and for such land is a shame, yes. We got that, and then I don't think so. Okay, we just answered that question. Good point. And Ethiopia was born in South China. Yes, we talked about that. And the creator was called and depicted as a great black and great black bull. They knew their color. Yes, they did, and they depicted themselves as black on murals. This is the key. And you saw my class where I had a class on Egypt is ours. I showed you the mural of the Nubians and the Egyptians. The Nubians were very, very jet black, what they call Tahashi. That's what they call the people who were very, very black. They called them that. And that's what they call the Nubians. They call their country Taseti, but they call them Taneshi. So this is the term they use, meaning blackness of the skin, very, very black, right? And also Ta, we know Ta has something to do with that as well. I should not speak. I had the meaning. I know it means black skin, but I don't know very dark. I don't know what the Ta would be in the first of it. Why they would? I'm not sure. Maybe King Cam, maybe he has an answer to that because I'm not going to say because I can't remember all because there's a lot of information over the years and a lot of it I forgot too. Wasn't there too? Ancient Egypt's white people were the sick. It became that after the migration of a large white population, it became that. And finally, by the end of the 26th dynasty, it became literally a white nation. They were controlled all the way to the present time until the Muslims, the Arabs, took it over, and then it changed hands from the Toubab Europeans now to the Arabs and whatnot, and of course Islam took hold, and so forth and so on. So when they would start to take hold, there was a separation between the country. We had the lower Egypt, and they were mostly controlled by the whites, and then the southern part was controlled by Nubia, by the black people and so forth, and they kept separation. It's true. This is your first real segregation that we understand, like in America, where we're segregated with black and white. They had a kind of separation themselves, even though mixing was still going on here and there, but not as much because the Nubian people still stayed jet black in color. I don't think they were mixing much. Ones who did mix, they went in the north and they became the Fulani people and the Ethiopians and so forth and so on. I talked about that already. I'm aware, but I'm not saying that they didn't see it as an identity. Oh, okay, yes, okay. And we have you need Somali and other Christian locals to truly understand ancient Egypt. No, because there's also Ga and there's also Khan languages that was spoke in ancient Egypt as well. And to understand the ancient Egypt, you have to understand Meher Neher. You got to read the hieroglyphics. It's not the Semitic language, Arabic or Ge'ez or any names like this, or Akan or Ga or Ewe. All these languages were being spoken in Messer at one time or another, right? In Kemet. But this is not to say, that these languages. But Meher Neher, we have to understand that, because how are we going to understand the kings list, all the kings of? It wasn't written in Arabic. It wasn't written in Ge'ez. It was written in Meher Neher. So we need to understand that in order to get a picture, which we have. We had Budge, archaeologists who deciphered it, and then we have many other Ben Jakanan, which King Cam is familiar with him, his books. They began to decipher the documents and translate the hieroglyphics, because that's where the key to understanding ancient Egypt is, the hieroglyphics in the Meher Neher, because that's their language, meaning the language of God. That's what that meant. Some paintings are black, but they're first Egyptian where they paint. Yeah, the when by the fourth dynasty, the Europeans begin to come into Egypt, and they begin to depict them in their murals. They show them, and so forth. And we know that their numbers became more and more as the centuries went on, and then they finally overtook them, and controlled the country. See, we know that for a fact. But you have to look at the mural for what, and you have to understand what the meta, what they said in the language, is not that they were native. They weren't native to the land, because we've proven that they weren't native to the land. Because if you look at hieroglyphics, they showed them as foreigners. They showed them as foreigners. They weren't native. See? Okay. Ta is for land, correct? Yes. Yes. And it's also, thank you for showing up, my dear brother. It also has land, but it also has other meanings as well to this. We have to look at, I saw this another day because I'm still learning the meta, but ta also has another meaning as well. They were kind of obsessed with it. They even allowed to sacrifice black animals. Yeah, they had their periods where they did things, and they had, that's why I said the first black nationalism wasn't in Los Angeles or New York City. The first black nationalism, or with Marcus Garvey, it happened in Ancient Kemet. See? Okay, wait a minute. Excuse me. The Arabs or Toubab. No. When we talk about the Arabs, we talk about the Levant region. Many Africans call them Toubab Arabs because they're very, very white, because their great daddy were Romans and other Europeans. You can't get past that. It's true. And many of them today pass, even in the United States, you didn't know that they were Syrian until they spoke, or you looked at their name and you found that they were Syrian. So we know them to be very, so we have them call them Toubab Arabs, meaning white Arabs, because they are white, very, very. Some light eyes and so forth. Because of the Europeans, the Romans were there for centuries and they made it to women. So you're going to have problems like this. And the blacks begin to go back into further south into what we call Saudi Arabia. Saudi has to do with the color also. That's another issue in itself, isn't it? Saudi has to do with blackness as well. That's right. Actually, Coptic is very close to the Med. Yes, it is. But you know what? All the script. Mende is also. See, the Fulani has a script. The Tuareg have a script. All of it is originating out of Meta Neher. But when they travel, start to go to their respective areas, then again begin to change, which is normal. See? Okay. Yes. Thank you, my dear brother. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for yes. Please subscribe to my station, brothers and sisters. True Somali and another language can interpret better than the. Yes, we have to, and our scholars have. Many of our African scholars today have really ripped Budge in his interpretations because he has made mistakes. And after I saw how they argued these mistakes, I understand why they corrected some of the things. I'll give you an example. When you look at Meta Neher, okay, he uses the word and said, and because why? It's wrong, but he did. He said gods. But if you look, Meta Neher is not plural. It means the language of God, right? Not gods. But Budge and some of the others earlier pluralized it by saying gods. It's not true. And now they've been corrected by many African scholars. I appreciate your work. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you very much, dear brother, for that. Thank you very much for that. And the Coptic language is close to ancient. Yes, it sure is. But all of them, brothers and sisters, Mende is also. Mandinka as well. The Fulani dialects, especially Messina dialect, is closer to because we came from the region. Hausa as well. Tiv, Yoruba, Igbo, all of these, Akan, especially Akan. Akan was already there, as one of the languages at one time. Ewe as well. See, so the all of those languages are close to Meta. All. Thank you, my dear brother. And here we get black wasn't there exact color. Most people are brown and don't think. No, dear brother. You look at their mural, the black people, they're very, very black in this region. Even Herodotus said they were burnt by the sun. He said burnt. When you burn the meat, it's not brown, it's black, isn't it? When you burn and scorch something, it turns black. It doesn't turn brown, right? See, so this is why, and also we have to look at something. They have a term for brown. They have a term, and they did use a term for lighter skinned people, but they call themselves Kemtiu. This is what they call, and Kemt means black. It doesn't mean there's no light brown or hazel eyes. No, it means black people. And even Herodotus said they were burnt by this. I mean, they're black. They were burnt, he said, by the sun. See, so we have to go by what he saw and what the ancient Egyptians actually called themselves. That's what we have to go by. And they said black. They call themselves black. You have any Instagram where we can message you? Or yes. I don't use Instagram too much, but I will. This is the address. I made a mistake here. Yeah, here we go. Fulla 2024 at PM ME. Okay. Yeah, everything is right. Yeah, okay. Yeah, this is, if you guys want to reach me, you guys can reach me here. And, if you have questions, comments, or something, and I'm trying to establish, I learned this from our dear brother, King Cam. I'm trying to establish a mailing list as well, because, you see all the difficulties I have trying to get notices out for people to look at my program, and they're just not getting it. So I tried to establish a mailing list. That way you'll get it, because I'll send you, I have a video coming. I'll send you, something. I may even have comments. Sometimes I post in the community, but even in the community page, people are not getting it. Okay, people are just not receiving it. And I complain to YouTube, but now I try to use my email system, and this is a very secure one so far. I like it. So far, it's pretty good. And so I try to establish a mailing list so that way I can get you guys the information. There may be comments or something, and then, so you guys can write me, and then I can put you, if you write me, I will put you on my mailing list. As a matter of fact, I don't know if I can pin that, how I can put that, star comment. Okay. So where are we at here? I wanted to put that at the bottom of the screen, but you know what? I can put that. I can't put that in the bottom of the thing. Yeah. Let me put this again. Hold for the interruption there, my brothers and sisters. Just 1 minute, because I need to put this in here again. Then that way you guys can have it, and we don't have to interrupt that anymore. Excuse me. Okay, PME. Okay, add the banner, and then we see here we want to put we want to pin that. Wait a minute. No, where's the thing there? I suppose I have a thing where I can put it under. Oh, well, okay. It won't let me do it here. That's funny. But anyway, okay. Where are we at here? All right. Can we get a group going to dive into these topics as a community? Yes. We were talking about this. I kind of talked with King Cam a lot. He's got a lot of things going, and he's already starting this. I'm learning a lot from him too about organization and so forth and so on. And he's already you can subscribe to King Cam here. This is him here, and you can subscribe because he's already got something. He's already got a good platform going. I'm learning from him, like the mailing list and all that. So he's already got this going. So you guys subscribe to him. And like he said here, it's true. He always, his motto, we learn together. That's true. Just like today, everybody has the comments. There's things, my sister brought something today. King Cam's brought up something. Our brother Larry brought something I forgot about. I didn't even know. You see, so today we learned. Everybody's learned something. I'm not only just one teaching. Everybody's giving us information. That's how we should do this. See, so he's right. He coined that term, and it's true. We are learning together. Because today I learned some things too. Because I saw a word I didn't even know. It didn't even look like, Meher. But then I saw everybody wrote it and said this is a name and so forth and so on of before the pre-dynastic period, which is because I don't believe they weren't using Meher then. But what language were they speaking? They weren't using Meher. What were they using for that? That's a good question. Okay, we all are. Okay, here we go. Let me see what he says. For Herodotus, will we also consider that he used to see people so dark? So why would he be? Yes, but he didn't say the people were dark skinned. He said they were burnt. I mean, he said they were burnt by the sun. I mean, they were blackened. See, and he coined the term Ethiop, meaning blackened by the by the sun. See, so we know that, and this coincides with the Egyptian people, what they call themselves. See, so it's all okay. Here we go. It's all mattering. Discord, Telegram. No, I don't use that. I don't know how. I try to put that because I'm supposed to have this. I'm supposed to have this thing where you can put, but it doesn't. It's not letting me. No, it's not letting me do that. I want to put the thing at the bottom of it, but I don't know what happened. Why it's not letting me do that now. See, this is my email, but it's supposed to let me. Okay, I think it's not okay. I see the mistake that happened here. Now I see. Okay, there okay, I see what I did wrong. Now I understand. I'll put it at the bottom so that way, because those who want to contact me, this is the best way. I have Skype also, but I know people don't tend to use Skype much, but I love it myself. I really enjoy it because it's a very, very secure for me to send things out. And okay, and it says the banner, but it's not. It doesn't even show that. So, there it is. Okay, I'm not computer wise. Okay, excuse me. But there it is. So that's my email there, and like I said, I want to establish something like King Cam. But you guys can subscribe to King Cam because he's got his going. He's got his podcast and everything going, and he's got it going, and he's got a mailing list and everything. People that some darkest in the world, but there are different shades of. Yes, if you saw my classes before, I talked about Sudan. Prime example of that. We got people who they're so dark, they have a greenish tinge. I was there. I saw them. And I know when I was talking to Sudan brothers, they explained things to me because it's a very complex, country. You have people that were greenish tinge. Then you have bluish, and we call these blue black people and green black people. I was in Sudan at the time. I saw them. And I talked also about some of the most beautiful women I ever saw were black as the night. and they were under the green and blue black, especially the sisters, the blue black sisters. Some of them were just, their beauty was, they had to strike beauty because they were so black and their white teeth. You know what I mean? Beautiful, like hourglass shapes. Beautiful, beautiful women. Beautiful women. Okay, what we got here? We have to work to do. Yes, we have work to do. Yes, we have a lot of work to do. We got a lot. I'll reach out to you. Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you, dear sister. Yes, reach out to him. Subscribe to his station, and that's greatly appreciated. In Latin colonies, they root for different shades of skin. People are called. Yes, yes. African Americans. Is all African Americans black as the night? No, they're not. Some are cafe au lait, some are very dark, some are in between. So, yes, we understand that. But at that time, there was no mixing. See, there was no mixing. That mixing didn't start to happen until almost in the Middle Kingdom. Then this mixing began to happen, okay? But before that, the people were just jet black in color. They would not call themselves that. They have a term for black, okay? I mean, just regular black or something, but they call themselves Kemet, Kemetic. So, and it means black. I mean, black. And their murals depicted them as very, very black as well. Especially if you look at the first four dynasties, they paint themselves very, 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 very dark. There you go. Here it is. Here he's giving you some of his information here, and the Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, I don't know what you mean by that, my dear sister, because this is not related to that. We do today with Savior Labor. Is it identified? I don't know what you mean because of slavery. Yeah, no, because what we try to do here is we try to do the exact opposite of this. Our history says that the ancient Kemetic people said they were black, right? But we had historians for centuries upon centuries who were racist say they were white. We still have that today. You pull up Google, all your scholarship on Egypt shows them white. I showed you a map here of, they even show the Nubians as white. So we're trying to counter that. We're not trying to be what's that other word you're using? Reverse racism. That's not the case. How can it be reverse racism? We're the ones that have been slighted. We're trying to correct a wrong. They're saying that they were white. We're saying they were black people, and we got the proof for that. See? Okay, we've got here. Okay, we have here, yeah, but it wouldn't just be a scientific understanding for dark skin. I don't know what you mean. We don't. I don't know what you're talking about, my dear brother, because you have to go through the hieroglyphics and you got to understand the Neher. We're not talking about modern time. Modern times today, black people are called, and he's a black man, even he's very light skinned with light colored eyes. He's still a black man. We're not talking about the dynamics today. We're talking about what happened there 5,000 years ago. See, this is the difference. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. It agrees with. Yeah, some were very dark skinned. Some were. We got here. Okay. Dead Sea Scrolls. We got here. Okay. We got here. Compared to past, trying to do the same. I don't understand the overall point you're trying to make. Okay, overall point again. What was your comments when you see all the scholarship that says Egypt were white? Did you complain about that? See, you got to be honest. Now that we're trying to show you that they weren't white, we have backlash from black people too, and from white people who say, well, why do you care? Look, I'm going to have to be honest. I don't like that my ancestors are being called white. I just don't. And let's turn it around. If we start to change Europe and we start taking their accomplishment and say it was a black man, they're going to up in arms. They get upset over something like that. Rightfully so. Rightfully so. So we're trying to reclaim that history. It's ours. That's what we're trying to do here. And I'm giving you ammunition to fight those who said that ancient Egypt was a white kingdom. It wasn't. Yes, when they took over after they raided and they finally took over by the 27th dynasty, Egypt was known now no more as a black African country. It was gone. And still to this day, when the Romans had control of it, then the Arabs took it, our Muslim brothers took it over, and it's never been black anymore. It's finished. Okay, salam. Thank you, my dear brother. Walaikum salam. This resource on the by Israel. Yes, yes. And I was talking to not you, Baba. Oh, okay, yes, okay, I understand. I'm telling my teenage students when King Tut saw the pyramids, they were already old. Yes, because that's right. And see, and again, that's why the Egyptian history, we should learn it, because those dynasties was something else. All your major accomplishments happened in the Old Kingdom from the first 6 dynasties. All your scientific, especially up in space, was in the first 6 dynasties. See, and so all the accomplishment had already been established. In my opinion, skin color can no longer be a qualifying factor for community building. We're in a spiritual war, so we got to like spirits. Yes, but how about in America? Race and color still matters. How many white roving policemen kill white folk just out of killing them just outright because he's shopping in Walmart or he went to McDonald's? See, color does matter. Why we have racial profiling laws? Because they're not racially profiling other whites, they're profiling black and brown people. So race does make a difference and matter. It does. And so even statistics, it shows that race still matters. A white policeman is more willing, more or less, to kill a black, even in a tough situation, than given the benefit of the doubt. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago when they had that shooting in Missouri, I think it was, in Kansas. And the guy, after he shot all those black people, he walked down the street. None of the police engaged him. He handed over his weapon. If been a black man, they would have shot him to death. So they have differences in how they treat us versus them. The profiling laws are not designed to protect whites, it's protect us, because we're being profiled. The Egyptians lived for the purpose of spiritual enlightenment, and yes, everything we admire of their creations. So yes, let's not focus on the material, but remember the purpose. Well, wait a minute. I still ask you now. So what are we supposed to do when we go to Google and it shows my ancestor Shabaka is a white man? What am I supposed to do about that? What am I supposed to do when you show, when we have all this other scholarship, we have African scholars who have deciphered the hieroglyphics. They talk about the people as well. And they talk about we have other people here that may have descendants of who were kings. Why do I have to take a back seat? Okay, why is the only way I can claim myself good self-esteem by claiming my ancestors is white? Why can't I say he's black? I don't want him painted as black. I mean, as white. He was a black man. See, so this is what it is. The higher purpose. But today, if you look at my classes, we focused on. I just have a class talk about the Ka. Those who saw this, I went to that. You have to go look at my videos. This is not my first video. I've been talking about Egypt a lot. Today, I'm focusing on this because the scholarship is getting ridiculous about Egypt. Everything is white. They throw us out of Egypt. So I'm talking about this issue today. I know the purpose, what they're doing. I think I know it better than you do because I just talked about it. You're talking about the spiritual awakening and the creations and higher purpose. They call that Ka. You didn't call that Ka. I call it Ka because that's what it is. It's called Ka. See? So we know with the ancient Egyptians, Kemetic people, their purpose. They were deeply, deeply religious. I talked about the 42 negative confessions. I've talked about the 42 positive confessions. The book forthcoming by day and night. All of that doesn't deal with race. Today we're dealing with race because the whites have made it a race issue by claiming my ancestor as white. Shabaka was a white man, which is a lie. It's a blatant lie. He was black. Even by the name Shabaka has to do with the South, not Europe, but the South, meaning south of Egypt. Shabaka. So that's where it is, my dear sister. So you should look at my other tapes first before you say what you're saying, because I deal with the spiritual. And the last couple of weeks, we call this Ka. Look it up. It's called Ka. I'm not saying racism is a tool of division. I'm black African woman and American. Do not mistake. I'm yes. Well, okay. Yeah, you live in United States. That's good. I lived there 50 years, and I got out of there when I had the opportunity. And when Subhanahu wa Ta'ala gave me the permission, I left to come here to Africa to stay. And I've been here now 2 decades, and so forth and so on. So, and I know what the racism is, racial profiling. I lived it when I was there. Okay. I lived it. I mean, how many times I was at Walmart, Kmart, I could see them follow me and so forth and so on. Even if I won't talk about, I had a job and I used to wear very nice suits. They didn't care. Some were so blatant, and many times I was even stopped after I paid for the items. I was stopped by security personnel to ask questions about did I really buy it. Okay, I've had all that. I've been stopped by police many times as well. And I was going in a neighborhood, Orange County, California, one time looking for a house. I was stopped by 3 police escorts surround me, thought and claiming that it was a burglar fit my subscription. Here I was driving a very nice car in a suit. So racism in America is off the charts. I am more so responding to the comments in the chat, not directly at you. So I just got here. Okay, haha. Okay, yeah. We're focusing on race today because we need to focus on race. Because when you pull Google, my dear sister, you got to admit, when you pull up Google, what do you see? Let's go something here. Let me see if this is which one is. Now look, my dear sister Natasha, please, my dear sister. What do you see here? This is ancient Egypt going into Nubia. What do they paint the Nubian as? Is he black? He's white. This is what we're talking about. We want to correct this. We want to stop this kind of madness. The Nubians were never white. We want to stop this type of madness that's going on with these white racists who paint our history. Not only Egypt. Even when you go to the corridor, they said that when they went in to invade Spain, they claimed that they came from the Takrir region, which is Senegal, and they were white. This type of madness is going on and on. The doggone people who have heritage in Mali, because of their expertise in the space, this one man wrote that they were half, believe this or not, here he said this in his book, they're half a river Negro. Can you believe this? River Negro and half European, which is not true. But he calls us river Negro. We have to combat this. This is the type of madness we're talking about. Look at the Nubian. He's painted as white. Come on now. Come on now. This is what we're talking about, my dear sister. Why we're talking today about that and so forth. I promise I understand yes. Okay, what I'm saying. Yes. That's true. And I agree it's wrong. Yes, it is wrong. And it's the same. If we go to Europe and we try to paint the English history as black, they're not going to like it. So, but when they come here to Africa and paint their history on us and say we should accept it, then we don't like it. Then they say it's something wrong. But if we go up to England and say that the Englishman was a black man and your history was black, they're gonna fight you for that. So we're fighting them back now with scholarship, you know. So brothers and sisters, you know, we got a few more here, and I got to go. It's very late here. It's already, 11 o'clock here, and but this is well worth it to talk about this and get everybody's opinion on that. But my dear sister, you should look at some of my other tapes, especially when you deal with some of the religious issues, because we have Egypt, and you can follow King Cam. He has a lot of presentations on this too. Mine is a little different, and so forth like this. He's got a lot of slides. He's got different things, and he talks about a lot of good issues as well. So you subscribe, as you already said, you're going to subscribe to him, which is good, and subscribe to my station as well. But I advise look at some of my videos. I go into a lot of issues. I make comparison between Arabic and Meta-Neher. You should review that. It's very interesting, tying in the some of the things in the Quran with some of the things in Meta-Neher. See, so all that I cover, I try to be well-rounded about Egypt. This is the first time I focus on race. Here now we're talking about a racial issue that they have taken from us. So this is what I was talking about, my dear sister, why we focus on that today. But my other subjects, we talk about many. And I also proved that the ancient Egyptians were black, and I sold it up the other day by the linguistic terms of Kemetic and Kemetic, okay, what they call themselves, and they use this to talk about other people. If they admit Jesus was black and repainted all the idols, I think they will close all the churches. It's going to come to that. It's going to come to that, dear brother, because now the evidence is out. What did Putin do? The United States was trying to tell Putin to shut up, but he went and said, hey, look, I'm going to open the vault. And he showed all the stuff that proved Jesus, alayhi was a black man. See? And the Roman church now is also starting to move towards, in some ways, to start to admit some of the things and so forth. But the churches in the United States, even the black churches, are not going to accept a black Jesus Christ. They're just not going to do it. They just cannot. And we got brainwashed black folk as well. They cannot. You talk to many black people. I know a lot, from my time. And I'm gonna tell you right now, they don't want to hear anything about that. They want to don a white Jesus Christ in their house, and they want to believe what they see in the Bible, and everybody's painted white. That's what they feel good about. Some even is making so sacrilegious. They're so afraid. They say if they go against that, they think they will get cursed. The Christianity, Eurocentric Christianity, has done a number on black folks in America and in Africa and in the Caribbean as well. They have done a hell of a thing on us. Bottom line, and it's true. Okay, brainwashed us to no end. I mean, and they ignored the evidence and so forth. But if the black Jesus is going to be promoted, you're going to have many churches will reject that, and some have already said they will reject that because they don't believe that. How you doing, my dear brother? How you doing, Anjarama? Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for showing up, and I appreciate that. I wish you would have came earlier here. I'm close to closing here, but thank you for showing up. I really, really deeply appreciate that. This is a very heated topic for a lot of us because we are tired, most of us, of dealing with the racism and especially taking our accomplishment and history from us. We have people we're upset with this. We're sick of it. Okay, and I showed you that map. They show Nubia in the depiction of a man in white. He's white. We're tired of it. See. And so I want to discuss that, and I want to get you guys input today, and I did. We got a lot of input from a lot of people, and that's good. People had different opinions of different things, and that's good. I gave evidence to support our position that our ancient brothers in Kemp were black folk. I gave you that 2 days ago as well. I gave you more information today They help you to discern and to argue your case against people who claim that they, that ancient Egypt was white. I gave that information and whatnot to help you to counteract these people. And this is a big problem that we have today. And this is a problem that we have to solve, and we have to do it peacefully, and we have to do it with education. And I made the point, and I will be closing. One of the reasons why we can't seem to overcome our problems here in Africa in particular, especially about history, is because we don't support our African scholars. We just don't. We just don't. And that's proven. We just don't. See? And you look at the stations that promote a white Egypt, these guys got 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 subscribers. Okay? Incredible. And most of them are black folk. But me and others, me, King Cam, and others like us, we can barely get anybody to support us. We got to talk to the truth, and whatnot. And like King Cam said, he said that people they just don't want to believe us, but they're more ready to believe this Toubab when he gives a false history, than when I give you evidence. I'm saying it's a general rule. You don't want to believe that. You want to believe only what the Toubab has laid out. I've given you what our ancestors called themselves. And that's why I try to say to those naysayers who claim that Egypt was white, I keep saying this again, why would a white man call himself a black man? And Kemet is a person who's black. He's a black man. This is the metal, and this is the single person, Kemet. This person is black. They call this is what they use to call themselves. And the race of people, Kemet. See, so again, this is what we argue today about, and I'm hoping that we got something out of this. We all input, beautiful. I'm happy a lot of us did make our input in here. How you doing, my dear brother? Thank you for showing up today. Thank you very much. I often wonder why our history is either erased or that altered by, yes, because it's by design. They want us to stay asleep, and we still have that. When you can get a white racist historian, he's got 30, 40, 50, 60, some 100,000 subscribers, and a lot of them are black folk. But black scholars like myself or others, we can't generate nothing. See? So it shows we're disingenuous about our history. We will support the Toubab even in his racist notions against us. We support him anyway. Like the Jewish scientist showed, that black African standing up there, he tried to find something wrong with all the black programs, and he found, I don't like this because of this. But when those white ones, he didn't say that. He subscribed. See, this is a big problem among us. That yes, and it's funny too. Yes, they'll say reddish brown, but if that reddish brown man walks through Mississippi or Alabama or Texas or Los Angeles, California, they're gonna call him the N-word, aren't they? So they can't have it both ways. They're gonna say, yeah, but they're African, but they're not real black people. They're light brown or they're reddish brown. But you said they're not real Africans or black people. Yet this reddish brown man will go down in a car in LA and the white policemen are going to stop him. He travels the streets of Texas or going somewhere in Mississippi or Alabama or Georgia or any place in South Carolina, he's going to be called the N-word. And if he comes talking about he's a white man, they're going to laugh at him. See? So yes, and this is how they changed the rules. They changed the rules. He's not African. He's reddish brown skin, and so they call him. No, he's different. He's not the same. He's not like the Ghanaian. He's not like the black Senegalese. He's not the blue black of Sudan. He's dark skinned, but he's not this, right? But yet and still, this man that you said is not a black man traveled to Los Angeles And this white policeman is going to stop him with his gun drawn, and he's going to use the word, "You are a Negro." I'm being polite, but you know the word he uses. See, it's all a really bad racial animus that we face it, and we have to fight for our history. Even with that said, brothers and sisters, and I will have to close. Even if I can't get people to support me, I'm still going to talk, because I'm an elder. I have to. I'm going to give you the case and let you get it. I said this the couple of days ago. I don't care if you guys use my information. You use it on your platforms. That's fine. I am not jealous of that. I'm not going to go after you. No, because I'm your elder. African custom says I'm supposed to teach. I'm supposed to give my experiences and knowledge to you so we keep this going. That's why we had all this scholarship until the colonial period, when they stopped this stuff. Now it's starting to return. So the elders should give information to help out our younger people so they'll have it. They'll get older, they'll have experiences, they pass this information on, and that's how we keep our history good. Why we're behind the 8 ball? Because we were not allowed to talk. We're not allowed to study. We're not allowed to decipher the documents. But this has changed. And this is why they got away with painting Egypt as white, even though their own historian Herodotus said the people were black 5,000 years ago. Okay, I mean, so we're fighting that, and so I'm hoping I presented a good case today. And there are many black content creators who say they were aliens who depicted them in white and blue. Yes, there's contention, and and we have to always look at some things. There's one Jewish, he's dead now. He was a scientist, and I can't think of his name. He took his thing off YouTube. On his dying bed, he made a comment that shook a lot of people, because he signed an agreement. He's not supposed to reveal things. He talked about a spaceship that the U.S. Navy had at the shipyards there in Maryland, I think it was, that fell out of the sky. He was there when they took this thing in, and he said people came out of it. He said they were 8 feet tall and jet black in color. That's what he said on his dying bed. He's still coherent. He's close to death. Now he's wanting to tell the truth. He said these people came out of he said they came out of this big ship, the shipwreck. He said they were 8 feet tall and jet black in color. So we have those who say things like this. We have to, and me and King Cam was going about this, talking about this issue, and I will have to get out of this here now. You guys think about this. Somebody can answer this real quick. Where did our ancient ancestors get the information without telescopes, spaceships, and everything else about the solar system? Did they go up there to chart it, or did somebody come and bring it down to them? You guys think about that. If you're still here, I think I see some people still here, 18, 19, 20 people still here. Let me say this again. How did our ancient ancestors of ancient Kemet, Egypt, the Yoruba has traditions, the Igbo has traditions, the Fulani has traditions, and the Dogon have traditions. How did they all get this information without all of the modern technology? See, did they go up in space to get it? Or did somebody come from the inner space and give it to us here? You guys think about that. See, how did we get that? How did the Dogon get the information they did on the Sirius solar system? They knew this from the 600, okay? 600, right? They said they were visited. From the 600, they charted out without telescopes or any devices of the Sirius solar system. How did they get it? Did they go up in space to get it? or did somebody come down to them to talk to them? This is an issue in ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt in the 4th dynasty. Remember, they have pyramids, the Giza. They have pyramids lined up according to the solar system. You look at, you see the pyramids. The pyramids were in direct line as that they saw in Orion and Sirius. How did they get this information? Who gave it to them? Did they go up in space to get it? The Europeans got this information in the 1800s when they developed telescopes. We didn't have that 1,000, 5,000, 4,000 years ago. We didn't have that. So how did we get it? That's right. Given to them by Most High. That's right. See? That's the issue, isn't it, brothers and sisters? Think about that. How did our ancient ancestors chart the inner space without all the equipment? They had no space shuttles, or did they have space shuttles? Did they have space shuttles? We have some reports said they did travel. See, we have some reports that said they did travel in spaceships, that the angels came, I call them angels, that came from outer space, picked them up and took them into the space, the ancient Egyptians. And that's how they began to chart out Orion and Sirius. See, and that begs another question too, because if they did chart those areas, there has to be wormholes or some type of black hole or some tunnel that they go through that cut down space, because Sirius is approximately 7 light years. I forgot now how many light years away. No, I forgot how many, but anyway, it's about approximately 97 years away from us. So how did the ancient Egyptians, they traveled, how did they get to this area and come back within a relative? They have to have wormholes that you know, there's something in the space that Subhanahu was created where it cuts down time and space and you know, distance, because that's the only way. How? We got other stars it take 1 million years to get there. See, so this is what we're talking about. And there were intelligent beings living at the time that passed the dinosaur. Yes, but who gave it to them, my sister? Who gave them this? Somebody had to give them that, because it's up above. It's not in front of them. Somebody had to give them it. How did they get it? See? How? And how did the doggone chart the Sirius solar system? They did, you know, and they said they were visited. See? And to be fair, you know, the movie, I talked about this before, it's called the UFO Incident. You guys should check it out. Remember the late James Earl Jones, who played the character Barney? He was married to a white American woman, and they said they were kidnapped. This happened in the 1950s. And this movie was, I think, came in the 60s. It's called the UFO Incident. Check it out. Very interesting movie. And it talks about this couple. They were coming from Connecticut, going home to New York, or wherever they were living, or Massachusetts, wherever they were living. And they were stopped and abducted by aliens. This is what they said. And they made a movie about this. But here's something interesting about this, brothers and sisters. Betty, I forgot his name, Betty Hill, because his name is Barney Hill. Betty Hill, when she was hypnotized, because they thought there's no way that they did this, but they hypnotized them. They talked about what happened, how they were taken into a spaceship. Betty described how the whoever the manager, the king, or whoever it was, gave her the information where it came from. He drew it out for her where it came from. She drew this thing in trance. She drew it out for the man who was doing the scientist. She drew out the solar system where these people came from. At the time that she gave this, there was no such place. They didn't find it. They dismissed it. They were saying she was hallucinating, because you remember how it was in the 60s. She's married to a black man. They were coming up with, there was a racial they had this racial high blood pressure because they were in a interracial marriage and made them have delusions. They were coming to all kind of stuff. But 10 years later, a scientist with a powerful telescope found reticulate 1 and 2 that she said. 10 years later, after they took her drawings, and someone found the solar system. That's interesting, brothers and sisters. She said the man gave it to her on the spaceship when they abducted. He said, this is it. She knew, and she, under hypnosis, they asked her to draw it. She did. And she drew the formations of the stars and in the area called reticular 1 and 2. This is what they call it today. That's what she drew. How did she get it? Nobody knew of that. It took 10 years after she drew that when they finally found that. And how did she was not an astronomer, none. She didn't go to college for that. Wasn't really even an educated woman. How did she find that? How did she get that, brothers and sisters? How? Huh? How did she get that information? See? And she got it. So that's something that you guys should think about. And watch that movie, especially at the end, it give you creeps. The way the music is, it give you creeps, you know. But she described the solar system without modern technology. She said they took her and her husband up into space, and they talked to her and told her this, because she said, I asked him, where are you from? And he said, he told her, if you don't know where you're at, how can I explain? But she kept asking him, where are you from? He drew it for her. She saw it and memorized it, and under hypnosis, she drew the thing. She drew it. 10 years later, they found this area they call reticular 1 and 2, and they were now shocked that she had it. How did she get it? How did she get that information, brothers and sisters? Huh? How did she get that without modern equipment and technology? So anyway, I think I'm gonna stop here, brothers and sisters. That's enough. And thank all of y'all who showed up today. I really appreciate that. Please subscribe if you like my talks, because these talks are very unauthorized. I mean, not authorized, excuse me, unorthodox, not authorized. Yeah, some people say that because they tried to stop me today. It took me a long time to get on air because I was having a lot of enemy trying to disrupt my signal and everything else, freezing my screen so I couldn't get on. But I hope that I piqued your interest today. I left you with a lot of questions, brothers and sisters, especially the last one on Betty Hill. I think she just recently passed. How did she get that information on reticular 1 and 2 when no one had it? It was not even discovered at that time. Huh? How? And she was a white woman. And she wasn't deeply religious either. She said she was abducted. Her and her husband, her black husband, they were abducted and taken up to the space. And the angel who talked to her in the spacecraft, he explained to her the area where they came from, and they found it 10 years later. Incredible. Incredible. I'll leave you with that, brothers and sisters. Thank you all for showing up today. It's been a long program. I really appreciate that. Assalamu alaikum. Rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.